Welcome to the Robots v. Vampires podcast. I'm Adrian Smith, your guide through all this.
And I'm Julia Jones.
Yeah, Julian.
Ready to break down all the science and the tech behind all these awesome stories.
Okay, so picture this, right? A city just covered in neon and fog, a lone figure walking the street. Metal gleaming under the moonlight. Kind of a hint that things aren't as they seem.
That's just the start.
Yeah.
We're about to uncover a story where technology has gone in some weird directions
Yeah.
and where classic monsters have well evolved.
Involved in ways we couldn't believe.
Yeah.
So this story's all about Crimson Rush. Now, you might know all about traditional vampires, biting necks, sleeping in coffins.
Right.
Crimson Rush changes all that. It's a bioengineered drug, like some kind of synthetic blood that turns people into something like vampires.
What's really cool here is that Crimson Rush, flips the script on traditional vampires.
Yeah.
Instead of a mystical curse or, you get bitten by a vampire, it's cutting-edge science. Labs, test tubes. It makes you think, how would science change how vampires work?
Yeah, right. You've got the old school vamps who are all about the masquerade. They keep themselves hidden from us. But these Crimson Rush users, chaos, destruction, like a party that got way out of control.
And that chaos, it comes from the drug. Imagine something that changes you on a biological level.
Yeah.
Pushes your body past its limits. It's like the dangers are huge.
They are. And that's where Viktor comes in, our main character. He's a vampire, been around for centuries. So he's seen it all. He's looking into Crimson Rush.
So he's like a detective with fangs. He's got all this experience from over the years. But this new kind of vampire, it's a whole new challenge for him.
Yeah, it really puts his skills to the test.
For sure.
So his investigation takes him to the Foundry, this top-secret lab run by some shady corporation.
Okay.
It's a serious fortress steel crumb.
Like out of a movie.
All the latest tech, too.
And this is where sci-fi and fantasy really blend.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Viktor, a creature of the night, sneaking into a high-tech lab, straight out of a cyberpunk thriller.
Absolutely. And he moves like a ghost through it. The Foundry gets past all the security.
Wow.
Even the bioscanners. They're designed to detect synthetic blood, but he gets past them.
That's wild. So this isn't just any lab?
Yep.
The Foundry is cutting edge, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
What Viktor finds inside is both fascinating and scary.
Totally. He finds these labs full of chrome, machines, and vats of this glowing liquid Crimson Rush. But then he finds something way worse.
What's that?
A huge stasis pod with something inside that you can't even really describe, this thing.
Yeah.
It's like the final result of all their experiments. Human, but totally warped and monstrous from the Crimson Rush.
Oh, no.
Fangs are like tusks, muscles bulging under its skin, like something out of a nightmare.
Okay, so of course things go wrong.
Oh, they do?
The pod breaks, and this thing gets out.
It attacks Viktor, pure rage, superhuman strength.
This is like the Crimson Rush in action.
Yeah.
Not just strong, but totally wild.
Yeah, Viktor's not scared easily. He's a master strategist, a fighter. He holds his own against this monster.
This is a fight for the ages, centuries of skill versus raw, untamed power.
Viktor uses every trick he knows to stay alive.
Wow.
He figures out that the creature's strength is also its weakness.
How so?
The cybernetic implants that make it powerful also make it vulnerable.
Oh.
He rips out a cable, cutting off its power.
Oh, wow. It's like a desperate move.
It was, but it works.
Yeah.
The creature loses its power. Left there is just a normal guy, scared.
Wow.
Viktor doesn't hesitate. He gets close, growls, and gives the corporation behind the Foundry a message.
What does he say?
He tells them. He knows their secrets. He knows their experiment is out of control.
That's intense.
And he's the guy there, shaking, and gets out of the Foundry.
But it doesn't sound like his troubles are over.
Not even close. The corporation wants to cover this up. They send all these bioengineered monsters after him.
Oh, man. So he's trapped in a place meant to hold back the very things he now has to fight.
Yeah. Viktor's skill and resilience are the only reason he makes it out alive.
And through it all,
Yeah.
he's exposed to the Crimson Rush.
Yeah. From that fight with the creature, it starts to change him.
Even if it's just for a while. That's really interesting. We see Viktor, this guardian of tradition, suddenly dealing with this forbidden power.
Exactly. It's more than just fighting monsters. It's a fight for his very soul.
This brings up some big questions. How will Viktor deal with this new power? Will he give in to it or find a way to resist?
That's what we'll find out next time on the Robots vs. Vampires podcast. We'll be diving deeper into Viktor's struggle and what his exposure to Crimson Rush really means.
Can't wait. Welcome back to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast. So we left off with Viktor, our vampire, dealing with the Crimson Rush after that fight at the Foundry.
It really changes things up.
Totally. He's
Yeah.
been a vampire for centuries. He's all about tradition, keeping things hidden. And now this power that goes against everything he knows.
Yeah. It's like giving a master swordsman a high-powered rifle.
Right. He's always been about skill, speed, strength. But this Crimson Rush offers a shortcut to something much more powerful.
And it's not just physical. The Crimson Rush seems to be affecting his mind, too. Heightened senses, more aggression. And this thirst he's never felt before.
Makes you wonder if this was all part of the corporation's plan. Was Crimson Rush designed to be addictive?
Yeah.
To change its users both physically and mentally? It would make their whole plan even more evil.
Because we're not talking about some scientist messing around with vampire biology.
Right.
This is a corporation with serious power, and they're building weapons.
Super soldiers.
Yeah.
And that's where the ethics get really tricky.
For sure.
Are they turning people into weapons? What happens to them after they're changed by the Crimson Rush? Are they still human?
It's something Viktor's struggling with. He's always been a protector.
Right.
But now, he might be becoming the very thing he's supposed to fight.
It's like seeing a twisted version of yourself in the mirror. That line between hunter and monster is getting blurry. That's got to be terrifying for Viktor.
It is. And the stakes are high. If he gives in to the Crimson Rush, he loses himself. Just another pawn in their game.
Yeah.
But if he rejects it, will he be strong enough to stop them?
It's like that classic choice, embrace the darkness to fight the darkness or get consumed by it.
Yeah.
It makes you think about our own world and how technology might be corrupting us, changing us in ways we don't understand.
Totally. We see it with everything.
Yeah.
Like social media messing with our feelings or AI getting smarter than us.
Yeah.
How much control are we willing to give up for progress?
Yeah, and how do we protect ourselves from that progress turning against us? We're seeing this debate happen in the real world right now, but in this story, the consequences are a lot more immediate and scarier.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the ethics. It's terrifying. These Crimson Rush users, they're like animals with this crazy bloodlust.
Yeah.
The corporation doesn't care who gets hurt. They'll unleash them on anyone who gets in their way.
It's a horror story mixed with sci-fi. A reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create.
So as Viktor fights his way through the city, against both the Crimson Rush users and the corporation's people, he starts to understand what they really want. It's bigger than just super soldiers.
What is it?
They're trying to figure out immortality, like a twisted version of it through science.
That's a big idea in both sci-fi and fantasy, right?
Totally.
The quest for immortality, cheating death.
Yeah.
But in this story, it's dark and disturbing.
Yeah, they're not just trying to live longer. They're trying to control life itself, to change what it means to be human.
Whoa. And as Viktor gets closer to the truth, he realizes their plan could destroy everything. Not just the vampire world, but ours too.
It's like they're playing with forces they don't understand. It could be a disaster.
So now it's even more urgent. Viktor's not just fighting to survive. He's trying to stop a catastrophe that could change the whole world.
That's where we'll leave it. For now, Viktor's close to a big discovery. Something that could expose the corporation and bring them down.
But can he resist the Crimson Rush? Can he stay himself long enough to finish this?
We'll find out in the last part of our deep dive here on the Robots vs. Vampires podcast, where we'll uncover the thrilling end to this story of science magic and one vampire's fight for his soul. Welcome back to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast. Last time we saw Viktor facing a tough choice, resist the Crimson Rush, or risk becoming something he's not.
Yeah, it's like that age-old question.
All right.
What price are you willing to pay for power, especially if it's forbidden?
And for Viktor, it could cost him his humanity. He spent centuries holding on to his traditions, keeping things balanced between humans and the supernatural world. Now he's so close to losing himself.
It makes you think about how fast technology is moving. Are we losing control of the things we create?
It really does. Look at AI, genetic engineering, even social media. It's like, are we becoming slaves to our own tech?
Viktor's story is a warning. Progress without ethics can be dangerous.
Totally. So as Viktor digs deeper into the corporation's secrets, he finds out their big goal. They're not just making super soldiers.
Right. It's something even bigger.
They want immortality, but like in a twisted way.
The quest for eternal life. It's a classic theme. But here, it's all about ego and messing with the natural order. They're trying to cheat death with science.
Yeah.
And the results are pretty messed up.
What's really creepy is how they're doing it. Combining futuristic tech and ancient rituals. It's like they're blurring the lines between science and magic.
It's like a Frankenstein story. They're building something unnatural, something that breaks the rules. And Viktor sees what happens. It's not pretty.
He realizes that this is way bigger than he thought.
It is.
He's not just fighting for himself anymore. He's fighting for everyone, humans and vampires.
Yeah.
If the corporation gets what it wants, it'll be a disaster for both worlds.
Yeah. Viktor's internal struggle is at its worst now.
It is.
He needs more power to stop them, but that means using the Crimson Rush.
It's like a no-win situation. Become the monster to fight the monsters or watch everything fall apart.
Wow, does he compromise everything he believes in? Or does he stick to his principles, even if it means losing? This is a question we all face sometimes. How far would we go to protect what we care about? Would we give up our values to save others?
And just when it seems like there's no way out,
Yeah.
Viktor finds an ally inside the corporation. A scientist who's had enough and wants to stop them.
That's interesting. Even in the darkest places, there's always hope.
Yeah, someone who wants to do the right thing, even if it means going against the people in charge.
So what happens?
Viktor and the scientists come up with a plan to expose the corporation and shut them down. It's risky, a race against time.
And it all leads to a showdown, right?
Yeah, Viktor goes up against the leader of the corporation. He's like the embodiment of everything that's wrong with him. All about control and power.
Versus Viktor, who believes in balance and doing what's right.
In the end, Viktor makes a choice that changes everything. He rejects the Crimson Rush. He shows that real strength comes from sticking to your principles.
Even when things are really tough, that's a powerful message,
It is. Even in a world where technology is changing everything and reality is getting weirder, our values are still important.
Absolutely. So after the corporation is exposed and their plans are stopped, what happens to Viktor?
He's saved everyone, but he's not the same. He's seen some dark things, faced the worst parts of himself, but he came out stronger.
It's like he went through a trial by fire.
Yeah.
Came out scarred, but also a hero.
That's the thing about stories like this. They're exciting and scary,
Mm-hmm.
but they also make us think about the world and the choices we make.
Yeah, they remind us to be curious, to question things,
Yeah.
and to never forget what we believe in.
Exactly. So if you want more awesome adventures like this with sci-fi and fantasy, make sure to rate, follow, and share the Robots vs. Vampires podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and let your imagination run wild.